Warning, what you are about to see may disturb you, but it's how I preserve my hunting story. And this is what I do every time I shoot a deer, whether it's a buck or a doe, whether it's a big one or a small one. This is how I Euro mount my deer. Since 2018, I have been successful with deer hunting at least one deer a year. And every year I just bury my head, and about the time of year where I shoot another deer, I dig them up. I honestly don't remember if I'm going to find 2 or 3 heads today. I think that's all I have in here. But this is just a sand pile, and it seems like it works pretty well. Sometimes I'll stack these tires over top of the deer head and just fill them up with the sand. And little microbial critters and the roots from organic matter, all this stuff just chews on flesh. And I will figure out what it looks like when I dig it up. So I had 2 tires. Must be that I did not bury anything in this hole last year. I decided I'd throw the dirt up and then bring it back down to backfill this hole. So I've got my 9-point that I just shot the other day, and I do believe that this hole is big enough. Now this is where the one last warning will come in. I did skin this head kind of crudely. So that's what I've got right there. And basically I just took as much hide off as quick as I could. All that meat will disappear. The bugs, they will chew on all of the remaining flesh to the point where all I have to do is rinse it off with a garden hose. So I've got my head in the ground. I'm going to go ahead and pull some of this dirt back down and fill it in good. Notice I keep the antlers down. I don't want to hook them when I'm digging it back up in the fall next year. So I've buried my 9-point. I started digging here, and I found my 8-point from last year. And apparently I did not pull any of the hide off this one, but it has decayed so much that you can just pull it right off. It just comes right off, no problem. So I can just basically lightly pull it apart, and then I'll be able to use the hose to just rinse it real good. Now this bone is fragile, so I'm going to do my best to just rinse it well and let it dry. Now honestly, in all the years I've been doing this, I've never had the skull actually come apart. This is the bottom half of the skull, and apparently it just ripped right out. This is pretty soft for whatever reason. Maybe just because we got good bugs down in the dirt. So I might have to do a little reconstructive surgery, glue it or something to keep it together. Ultimately, once it's up on the wall, it won't matter. So my hole is dug. I found my 6-point and my 8-point that I shot last year. I'm going to throw this tire over this hole as an indicator that that's where my deer's at. And hopefully we'll fill that one in here in the next couple of weeks. So now I've just got a bucket of water. I'm gonna roll up my sleeves a little bit. I have a dustpan brush. We'll go with the 6-point since it's more intact. But we're just gonna sit it down in the water. I could do this with a hose, but I figured this would be just as good. I'd be able to agitate a little bit, give it a little scrub, wash some of the dirt off. And I don't do anything else to preserve these. And my first buck that I shot is still doing pretty good. sitting on my shop wall. They just sit on a shelf or they hang on a nail. I try to keep them in order so I know kind of the lineage of what's around here. This is the only place I've ever actually harvested a deer other than in Missouri. I've got my big 8-point down there. And that one I had to go about a little bit of a different route to get home because of transporting brain matter across state lines. So I had to do a little preparation work to that one there in Missouri. But we're just gonna wash off the garbage. Honestly, if I don't get it perfect, probably there'll be enough bugs flying around in the shop during the summertime and they'll keep it clean. I'm gonna rinse that off. Hopefully I can get some more big junk out with the hose. And there's my Euromount skull. It's not perfect. It doesn't get boiled, doesn't get clear coated or painted, but it's mine. This one, it's unfortunate that it fell apart. This is, I think, my second largest 8-point that I've ever shot here. And it could be because of the fact that I didn't take any of the hide off before. I'm not sure, but normally I do. Normally I skin out what I can. I don't know why I didn't do it last year. It's hard to say. I don't remember being there, honestly. Maybe it was just a trial and error. Let's see what happens if I don't take the time to skin this out. I'm sure there's no paleontologists that are watching this, but I'm sure they would be pretty upset with me with the methods that I am using. But it works for me, makes me happy. That's what I do this for. That's why I preserve it. It's because I like it. I wonder if I set my calendar to dig that 9-point up in the springtime, maybe in 6 months versus 1 year, what it would look like. With the effort that I made to skin it out, it took another maybe 5 minutes of prep work. That'd be interesting to see. That's all right. We're gonna get rid of this dirty water, rinse the bucket out, and then just go rinse that off at the faucet. And there we have it. Luckily, that one was able to just pretty much push back together. I guess I will just be careful with it as I set it on the shelf and enjoy it just the way it is. And there we have our Euromount story. I try to keep them in order. I had a good buddy make me this laser cutout, and that's my 8-point from last year. So that would, in theory, be my next one hanging. And then between those two doe skulls there would be my Missouri 8-point. And man, as far as girth goes, check that out. Check how much bigger that 8-point is than an 8-point like that, or an 8-point like that. Now this 9 right here, that's the biggest Michigan deer we've got on the wall, and that came from my wife and her 97 Suburban. So that's that. It was pretty impressive that she had the biggest buck of us all until I got that one. Now I kept my bolt from that 9-point that I shot just last week. And it's all dirty, bloody, muddy, and everything. I can't wait to dig that 9-point up next year and hang it up there next to the rest. I appreciate you watching. Have a great day. And if you're a hunter, good luck in the woods this season.